Someone who's experienced some kind of trauma early in life, with the help of therapy, can learn to set boundaries. Joining us more to talk about that is Wendy Jacobsen with the Samaritan Counseling Center. And we appreciate you joining us today, Wendy.
Thanks. Good morning, Jed.
Tell us first off, what is the relationship between trauma and boundaries?
Yeah, so when children experience trauma, such as physical, sexual, or verbal abuse, they are terrified, confused, and often internalize blame for what has happened to them. When this is left unhealed, as adults, they often have pain and confusion around their personal identity and self-worth. So it can be hard as adults to say no, can be difficult to be vulnerable, and difficult to know when they're safe to say no or be vulnerable with others.
So what are healthy boundaries and how do you establish those?
Yeah, so healthy boundaries are something that people choose to put in place in order to honor themselves and their needs. They're created consciously, not out of reactivity or fear. So healthy boundaries allow people to both love themselves and to love others well. They look like knowing what's your responsibility and in your control and what isn't. Walls, on the other hand, are developed out of fear, in response to those traumatic and fearful experiences in life that haven't been healed. So walls are protective, but they are rigid, and inhibit vulnerability with others. So walls look like an inability to share how you're feeling with those close to you, an inability to advocate for your needs in a healthy way, rather than pushing your own needs aside. It looks like possibly asserting your needs very aggressively out of fear. That can also be unhealthy.
What are some things that we can do to make sure we're not setting up those walls, but in fact, setting up some boundaries? That way we make sure we keep the line of communication open.
Yeah, so exactly. To be vulnerable, there must be some level of felt sense of safety. So setting boundaries out of a sense of your own self-worth is empowering. Therapy can help do that. There's other ways to heal, whether it's through friendships, through learning to be open with people that you can trust. And then when healthy boundaries are set, respect, kindness, generosity, honesty, and equality can flourish in relationships. When people don't feel emotionally safe, it's very difficult to be vulnerable and the walls are up. They are scared to share how they are feeling and can easily become defensive with others. So it's difficult to have open conversations with loved ones and make agreements together without feeling threatened when you haven't healed from the trauma that's kind of caused you to put up those walls. So healing from trauma and painful experiences, people can gain insight, improved sense of self-worth, and an ability to be present in their bodies and assess when their environments are safe. They learn when it's a good time to choose to take a risk and be vulnerable, and they begin to have open conversations, advocate for their own needs, and see the worth in and have respect for the boundaries of others as well. So healthy boundaries can create the conditions for vulnerability to occur.
When you mention how therapy can help, how do you know when you need professional help?
Well, if you're having any struggles in this area, you feel like possibly you've always set your own needs aside and you are just exhausted, feeling depleted. There's a lot of relationship conflict in your life. Therapy can help with that. So there's no shame in going to a therapist and just getting a little bit of help for a period of time in your life. So it seems
to be more and more accepted these days. If folks want more information from you guys at the Samaritan Counseling Center, what's the best way to do that?
Actually, the best way is to go to our website, tsccenter.org.
Wendy, as always, we appreciate your time with the Samaritan Counseling Center. Thank you so much for the great information and joining us today on Alabama Live.